Nico.
Nico Cuevas.
What's up, Nico?
Good to meet you, sir. You have one of the most brilliant names I've ever heard of, so cheers to you.
Cheers to you, brother.
Cheers to you. You asked about musical influences, and it sounds like you were also referring a little bit to how different Broken Voice was from Yet and I Am Undone, and even This Is Rescue. That happened because when we were trying to write Yet, we didn't have a practice space for a while because we were touring so much. This was kind of a catch-22. We were touring so much that it didn't make sense to pay for a practice space. Because we were touring so much, we were broke. And then when we got back, we needed to write music, but we didn't have a place to rent because we were touring so much. So I was writing on an acoustic a lot, which I didn't like acoustic at the time really at all. But I had to write on that. That's all we had. So I just started writing, and then we get together, and we finally we would borrow our friends Harvard, who, if you don't know Harvard, you should check out the band. Mm-hmm. It's actually HRVRD. They're one of the best bands out there. They're incredible dudes. Incredible band. They would let us use their practice space sometimes, and the riffs that I had written just wouldn't work on electric. And so we started talking, like, have I written some acoustic songs? And Jesse and Jeremiah, I'm probably pretty self-conscious about stuff I write a lot. And they were like, no, that stuff's pretty cool. So when Yet was done, we're like, well, we'll just put that out. We'll see if anyone cares or anybody wants it. And then it became a great first project for me and Matt and Tanner to do together. So that record, Jeremiah and Jesse actually aren't on it at all. I mean, they inspired a lot of it, and they were around for a lot of those songs beginning, but that's just me and Matt and Tanner sort of becoming a band together. And they just did a fantastic job. Matt just killed the drums on it, and Tanner pretty much does everything that's not my voice and some of the guitar. As Tanner played the piano and the bass and played some guitar, so... Anyway, I don't know so much that I was like inspired to write an acoustic record as so much as I just started writing one without meaning to. Mm-hmm. I mean, if I had to talk about the artist that I think about the most when I write that kind of stuff, I really love the newest Bon Iver record a lot. Just really love that record.
I remember in that process, it was a lot of Imogen Heap.
Yeah, I'm very obsessed with Imogen Heap, and
not that it sounds like her necessarily, but
no, but her
huge influence.
Yeah, her songwriting process is like she writes really stripped down songs on the piano, just piano and her voice, and then she just, like, for lack of a better term, just pimps them out like crazy. And so I just love. She did her last full record was called Ellipse, and she YouTubed a video every week, and it was really like a making of more than like a question and answer thing, and I was fascinated by it. Because I found her process was so similar to mine, even though our styles were different. So, but then as far as our what influences us, what styles, who we into.
Well, we've said a lot, but I think he kind of was hinting at like
weirder stuff,
old school stuff. Maybe even getting into the guilty pleasures.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's probably a lot of stuff we like that people would think is weird.
I'm trying to think of stuff we haven't mentioned.
One thing that I love that we haven't mentioned is Peter Gabriel. Matt Goldman really got me into Peter Gabriel, and especially a record he put out in 2002 called Up, and that record's just blew my mind. So, definitely Peter Gabriel. Who else? Sounds like you had someone else weird.
Well, no, not weird, but if we're talking about, kind of looking back and lifelong, the two major ones for me are DC Talk and Relient K, and I'm really not being goofy with those. Like, legitimately love them. And incredible story here. I'm just going to sidetrack because it's so important to do so here.
Yeah, this is monumental. We
were at Sunshine this summer, and we were back where some of the bands are getting some food. And I walked right by Michael Tate and didn't even realize it.
I had to tell him. He didn't know.
I wasn't even paying attention. Walked right by Michael Tate. He was there with the Newsboys. And I was just like, this is incredible. I'm right near Michael Tate, part of DC Talk. I didn't really care about his thing that he did afterwards, and I didn't really care about the Newsboys, but he was part of DC Talk, so
he made Jesus Freak, basically.
Yeah. So I was really, really stoked about that. Then I started looking around, and Relient K is literally like 20 yards from me, and I'm just getting stoked. I don't even know what to do with myself. So we're standing in line, kind of debating about whether to talk to them or not. And Aaron was like, what if you got them to hug somehow? Like, what would that be like? I have no clue. So we just kept going about things, and all of a sudden I turned my head, and I was just, being a fanboy watching Michael Tate just walk around being Michael Tate. And all of a sudden he walked up to Matthew Thiessen, and they started hugging. And hugged long enough that I realized that they were hugging. I turned and shook Aaron and said, "Look, look, 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 look." And he looked over there, and they were still hugging. So I think that made my life at that point. And
it's like his salvation, his marriage, the hugging of Michael Tate and Matthew Thiessen.
It was a beautiful thing. So yeah.
I mean, I grew up on punk rock. I mean, so when I was in high school, like the hardcore really wasn't big yet. So I was really into punk rock, and a lot of those. I was really big into MXPX and Slick Shoes and all these other Goaty Hook, and I really loved 5 Iron Frenzy, and I loved Switchfoot early on in their career. I did like especially the Jesus Freak album when I was in middle school, like blew my mind. Some bands that I've kind of always grown with. I mean, Thrice has always grown with me. The Deftones, the Foo Fighters, they're bands that and Saves the Day. Those bands just keep putting out good records. But as far as weird stuff, I'd say the other thing that you're probably referring to that you're hearing on Broken Voice is I have a real love for well done R&B and rap. Like if it's really smooth sounding, like I just love that, and that's kind of probably why Deathbed's my favorite song on Broken Voice, because it kind of the vocals are kind of more of an R&B feel, and stuff like Sade and. I mean, there's no artist that honestly in that genre. There's not a lot of artists I like so much as songs. Like I just like songs, and the truth is, in the R&B and the rap genre, the songs are usually written by producers anyway. So I have a hard time keeping track of who wrote what, but I'd really like a lot of that stuff. It's pretty weird, and I'm trying to think. I mean, we talk about Rich Mullins, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, I think he's not. I mean, he I guess I would say even musically, he's an influence, but. Just lifestyle and testimony.
You can just hear.
It's just incredible.
You can hear the Lord in it when you listen to it. Like there's, just single lines. Like there's that line in that one song where he says, he talks about walking, and he says, "I'm amazed and I remember who it was that built this house." And he's talking about creation, and it's just the way he says it just breaks my heart.
We even ripped a line off of his, so I'll just put that out there. Yeah, if you guys figured it out, awesome.
Totally stole a line from Rich Mullins. So, and as far as the only other weird thing is we don't mean to, but we do get influenced by all our friends on Facedown a lot. Yeah. Because we spend time with a lot of hardcore bands, even though we don't really listen to any hardcore.
Everything in slow motion will probably influence us on this next one.
Yeah. Or the truth is, that's influenced by all the same things we're influenced by. Because Shane is like a good dude, but we end up playing a lot of hardcore shows, and that probably had something to do with me wanting to buy a baritone guitar. But, we don't really listen to any hardcore. Even our friends that are in hardcore bands, we love the bands, but we don't listen to the music much. We don't get usually the truth is we hear enough hardcore at shows that we never want to get in the car and listen to hardcore music. It's like, let's listen to Ennio right now.
Well, Norma Jean is like my go-to hardcore band. I think we got influenced a lot by them. I think we haven't given them the credit that they're due.
Yeah, I really do. Especially goes. Redeemer and what was the last one called? I can't think of it. Everyone's yelling they're yelling at their computers right now.
What it's called.
It's got like an elephant on the front, but it's really good.
Yeah.
I like Redeemer even better than like Bless the Martyr, all that stuff. I know that's like their popular one, but anyway, there's a ton of bands we like, and very few of them. I don't know. We're getting older, so we talk about more of the bands we talk about are broken up now.
Yeah.
So, and it'll happen to you too. I don't know how old you are, Nico, but it'll happen to you.
All right, Nico. Hope that answers your question.
Grace and peace.